All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming. I am Joe, the Kentucky Atheist. I have a guest with me today, Godless Granny. How are you doing today, Miss Granny?
I am doing just fine. How about you?
I'm doing all right. I you and I have talked a few times, and of course we were at the Ark Encounter protest together. And today, kind of some of that is what I want to talk about a little bit. And of course, I don't care if it voyages away from that. There's a couple of pointed questions that I'll ask, but other than that, like just an idea of what we're going to talk about, not set in stone or written in a 2,000-year-old book. But
Okay,
um,
sounds
this first, but before we get into it, though, hey everybody in the chat that's coming in. We'll kind of start off slow here as people join and everything. And if you're new here, like and subscribe and all that would be awesome. Um, Everybody that is a subscriber and all that, thank you so much for coming and watching. We'll have fun today. Uh, so to start at the beginning, and I think we've discussed this story a number of times. So if we don't go into every detail of it, fine. If we do, that's cool too. But this wasn't your first Ark Encounter protest.
It was the first one I was at live.
Okay. Yes. So it was the the Ark protest and some of the speakers and the wording and all that had is something you were familiar with from the past.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I've watched videos of past Ark protests. Yes.
Right. And would you say it was about what you expected?
For the most part, yes. The one thing that I found a little disappointing, and obviously this is not in your control at all, is in years past, the Ark had sent people out to the protest to kind of counter protest. And some of the conversations between the speakers at the protest and just people who came to the protest with those people who came to to support the Ark, those were some very interesting conversations.
I agree with you, actually. The I don't know what the problem was this year, but we had talked to the people that worked there. They're public relations people and all that, and told them that we were coming and all that, and if they
Hmm.
wanted to come out and interact and stuff. And I'm not sure if it's because we did it on a Sunday or what the deal was, but they were not interested in the, talking to us at all.
Yeah, yeah, that was unfortunate.
I did notice in the couple days leading up to when the protest took place, they
Hmm.
were having some paid spots on like Fox News and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and so I don't know if that was just their attempt to go ahead and make a statement there or what, but they other than the brief conversations that Jess had with Mark Louie and things from AIG, they weren't interested in talking to us. When Kent Hovind called and told them he was coming, which is a whole thing we can talk about later, but um, when when he told them that, they told him not to come. Which,
I'm not surprised
yeah, yeah, I
because
know
we
that.
made them look foolish,
Yeah, right.
and I think they know that.
They weren't going to say anything, and they sure didn't want Ken Hovind representing their position. So
Right.
yeah,
Mhm.
uh, so it was a little weird that they just weren't interested in that at all, because they have done it just every year that there's been an art protest. They've came out and talked to people and whatever, but not this time. Yeah, you're fine. Um, the I don't I don't know why they insisted on that, because we told them, it'd be the same thing as other years, and we would come up there and they could come out and talk if they wanted to, and all that. And I don't know if I don't know what happened there, but they were aware that we were looking for them, and they just wasn't having it this year.
Yeah, we were seeking after their God, and they didn't even bother to come and tell us who their God was.
Right. Not to say that there weren't people that showed up to be noisy, but we had a fella driving by who was
Yeah,
yelling and honking,
obnoxious.
and yeah, not happy about us being there. He actually made a video. Uh,
Oh, really?
yeah,
What
it's a
what
real
channel
short
was he on?
it's a real short video. He's across the street over there. There was a little like a restaurant or something up on a hill, or maybe it was a shuttle point for them. I'm not sure what that was across the street, but um, he was over there shooting from over there, and he told he said all the Christians, you need to bring your Bibles and crosses down here. Bunch of atheists down here protesting God, which
Someone needs to tell him we weren't protesting God, we were protesting the Ark.
yeah. Um, he actually found the incest and genocide sign, incest and genocide park sign interesting too. But he said he got the idea that we were claiming that's what was actively going on at the Ark encounter.
Oh, yeah, yeah. He didn't understand the sign at all, did he?
No, and
No.
I just told him. I just left a little comment and said, "Hey, yeah, I'd be happy to talk to you about what we were actually doing and why, if you'd like to." But um, we don't think they were actively committing genocide at the Ark encounter.
Big Bad Mama says ICE showed up and no one got manhandled.
Yeah, yeah. I had originally thought whenever the cops came about the people parking and stuff
Hmm.
that it was. Once I had seen that guy's video, I was like, "Oh, okay." There was people mad we were out there. Somebody called the cops or whatever. The cops were awesome. I'm not complaining really. They were, you know, told them, said, "Hey, that's not happening," and they were like, "Okay," um, kinda. But after all the information started to come in about that and stuff, right at the time that all that happened, um,
Hmm.
Kent's people had drove by and took a picture of us, and then Kent posted that picture and said they're blocking the interstate exit.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So I have a feeling that call came from Alabama,
Okay.
but whatever. I don't know that. I just seemed to fit because it was at the exact same time that happened too. And
Hmm.
the statement isn't true because nothing was blocked anywhere. But other than the Kentucky Heat trying to take everybody out, I think that things went great.
I agree.
I think we had a lot of great speakers.
We did. We did.
Yourself included. You gave a really great speech that from people I've talked to about it seemed to
Hmm.
resonate with a number of people. They were, and when they say, "Well, you're going down here and doing this, and it doesn't change anything," and all this stuff, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, yeah, it does." And there's people that have this thing has been a lot too, and has made people think, which is really what more could you ask for than to get somebody thinking about um, such an important topic.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I though that's kind of been the common thing from people who oppose. us being out there doing that was just like, why are you doing this? It's not going to change anything. And, you know, but I don't know. I think it does. The,
Yeah, I think it
sorry,
does too.
sorry, go ahead.
I just said I think it does too.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that, because we had a lot of speeches that went different directions with how they wanted
Mhm.
to talk about, and all good. I mean, I don't know if anything that was said to where I was like disagreed with anything anybody said. I think that everybody was making valid points and things, and that
I I especially appreciated Dr. Bundy's speech. Yeah, at the time we were listening to it, I was thinking, yeah, this is getting a bit repetitive, but now that we're what, 3 months out, his speech is the only one that's still in my head.
oh
And it was that repetition that did it. I can still hear him saying, "This is not a what was the word he used? I can't remember. This is a protest."
yeah, this is a protest was the thing he was saying. Um, I think he went over a number of things that this is,
Right.
yeah, and brought it back to this is a protest. And
Mhm.
yeah, no, Jay gave Dr. Jay Bundy gave an amazing speech, and then he actually was staying at the Airbnb that I was at that weekend, and so I got to pick his brain on a number of things and stuff, and I wish I would have recorded all of it, honestly.
Mm.
But Ember kicked things off. She had to
There
leave
we go.
early.
Ember's got it. This is not a debate. This is a protest. There we go.
Right.
Thanks, Ember.
Yeah. Thank you, Ember. Uh, Ember kicked things off that day.
Mhm.
She had to leave early with
Mhm.
just a really great opening speech that got
It
everybody.
was. It was.
Yeah.
It was a great way to open the program.
Yeah. I was. I, I mean, for me, after spending a lot of time organizing things and talking to everybody and getting things in place that I could and all that, it was kind of just sit here and see what happens. Let's
Mhm.
at this point I've done what I can do. We'll sit back and see how it goes. And I thought it went better than I could have asked for, honestly. But uh,
Yeah, I was disappointed that Vice Rhino couldn't come, but I understood perfectly why he couldn't come as well. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that our country has become so dangerous that people are afraid to come here if they are foreigners because ICE might pick them up and detain them and deport them. And he could have been deported to El Salvador because they don't have to deport you to the country of your origin, and he could be stuck for months before he could get home, and he had perfectly legitimate issue, and
yeah,
it's a shame that our country has come to that.
no, I agree with you 100%. And that's here lately. That's been some of the stuff I've spent some time talking about on this channel. But we had a number of people tell us that, hey, coming to the U.S. probably isn't going to happen. People who
Mhm.
were going to speak, people who just wanted to come to the event itself. Jess actually went through a lot to get here herself. She came from Canada down here to it, and that whenever I was told about Bastrano that he probably wouldn't be able to make it because of what was going on between the U.S. and Canada, you know, disappointed, but at the same time, it was like, well, I can't blame anybody for
Yeah.
thinking that. It is the reality of the situation, and I would feel horrible if anybody had wanted to just attend and had ended up in that kind of situation. That would have been awful. So understood, like you said, I get it.
It
Yeah,
also would have been really cool to have Paula Gia there.
yeah, that would have been nice too. I so for next year, Jim is going to help me a little bit. Jim has a lot of contacts, people um, that that he can get in contact with and stuff, and help us get some of the same and new and different speakers to come out to it. And so some of the people that I just didn't have avenues to really get a hold of very well. I'll have some people helping with that next time. So
That's good.
there's definitely for me a number of lessons that I learned from the experience, which is what I was going for. Honestly, I wanted to learn about that because I had never done anything like that. I had never even been to the Ark Protest myself. Um, but as I became more active in the atheist community and being from Kentucky, it's something that I felt like needed to continue. Uh, and the Tri-State Freethinkers, they had not abandoned it. They
Mhm.
just were going to wait until next year on the 10th anniversary to go back to it. And I was like, well, if I can do anything to help get it going now, let's do that. It would have actually happened the year before too if I'd have known about it early enough. But I
Mm.
thought it was happening until right up like weeks before last time, and then that's when I found out that it wasn't. So
Mhm.
um, learning experience for a number of people, I think, including myself. Man, it was hot, but and that was the other thing is yeah, if we're gonna we need to start at the time that I'd planned on starting, but get in there and get it done and get everybody out of the heat because once we drug into 4 and 5 hours of everybody being out there on a nice sunny 100-degree day in Kentucky, it just nobody was feeling it towards the end. It was when it was over, everybody was like, "It's over," but I can't blame them. Uh, I think that for even for people who are used to it being hot and stuff,
Mhm.
they don't realize unless they're from an extremely humid area, they don't realize in Kentucky, being right beside a river and all the woods and stuff, it stays incredibly humid here. The humidity here is what gets you.
Mm.
So it was like mid 90s that day, but felt
Mhm.
like 110 degrees outside. It was awful as far as
Mhm.
um, did you had you met like the Heltons or anything before this experience? Did
No, I had not. I'd never heard of them.
okay, yeah, me neither until I started planning it. I didn't, uh, somebody introduced. Well, I think actually Jess introduced me to Jim Helton
Mhm.
a couple years ago, and then when I started talking to Secular Rarity about the event that was going on, well, the multiple events going on in Tennessee, and his stuff with that and everything. When I started talking to him, he was like, "You need to talk to Jim Helton," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy. I talked to him about this before," and that was my first time meeting them in person myself, and I was just amazed by how much they had done down there and how far they had brought that and stuff.
Mhm.
Because while I may have done some organizing and stuff this past year, it was very much based on the blueprint and things that they had already done for a number of years. It wasn't a like a one-off thing. I had some help. If I'm Okay, yeah, Jess, that's what I thought. So, yeah, just found Jim on Meetup for their ongoing events. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. The Tri-State Freethinkers down there, they do a lot of stuff, and they have a lot larger following than you would think for a rural Kentucky area.
Hmm.
But
Well, and tri-state, that includes Ohio and is it Indiana?
yeah, yeah, Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky
And
for
all
that area.
three of those are very red states.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, I guess you have the benefit of Kentucky's got a kind of weird thing going on. Um,
Hmm.
everybody's really spread out across Kentucky, but we have big cities like Louisville and Lexington and the Frankfurt area to some extent. And the population in those places is so high that a lot of times we end up with Democratic governors, such as Andy Beshear and stuff like that. Whereas Kentucky is generally thought of as a very red state, it's actually a lot closer. It's just they're all the blue votes are in one place
Hmm.
for the most part, of course. But yeah, so being right there, and then with Cincinnati and Columbus close by, uh, there's there's a few different city centers there that are blue. So it was you you get a lot more support for that kind of activity and those kind of using your First Amendment rights to go out and talk about those things. Whereas
Do you
as we
think you can replace Mitch McConnell with possibly a Democratic senator?
we we hope the so that's the other thing though. Even with the Bashirs or the McConnell families and things like that, they've been here forever. Um,
Mm.
some of the just for example, even up here close to where I'm at, which is on the far east northeast side of the state,
Hmm.
there's one of the McConnell family homes is there, and it used to the land that went with that place used to take up hundreds of square miles in this area. So they've kind of been in and out of our government for a number of years. Andy Bashir's father was involved. The McConnells, well, Mitch McConnell, he's been here since the Civil War ended, but um, but yeah, it's about time. I think Kentucky is obviously you have to have the elections to really know what's
Right.
going to happen. But I see a lot more areas of Kentucky that seem to be leaning blue, and
The
especially
cities generally do, and it's the rural areas that tend to go red. And the big question is, does your state have more big cities or more people out in the country?
oh well, the and again, it's by population, it's pretty close actually.
Hmm.
But whenever you start like we have a Democratic governor, but a Republican supermajority in Congress, in our state Congress, because you have all these districts that are red.
Hmm.
You have very few blue districts, but a large population of blue voters. Uh,
If you don't
so
mind my bringing up another topic,
no, go ahead.
the thing that has me more concerned than anything else right now is the possibility of the Supreme Court striking down voting rights, which will allow the Republicans to redraw district maps to make it impossible for Democrats to win.
Yeah, there's that's big in the news right now. They're trying to strip away parts of the Voter Rights Act to where
Hmm.
these states that uh, the way that it's worded kind of funny, but the way that it was is that they had to consider whether predominantly black districts and stuff, um, at least with what's going on in Louisiana, but this applies to all states, obviously, if they overturn it. But the argument down in Louisiana right now is that they have to consider black voters and allow them to have be represented in a number of districts. So, like in Louisiana currently, the about a third of their population is black voters, and so they have
They
six
need to,
districts.
yeah, yeah, they need to draw the districts in such a way that the district has a majority of black voters in it. And
Right,
to redistrict it so that if most of the black voters are concentrated in one area and you draw the district so that you carve out niches of that section so that each of them has a very small representation in the district they end up in, their votes get diluted and they get no representation.
right. They're not able to actually carry any seats because they've been added to these other red districts that are red historically red seats, and so
Right.
but they don't do it enough to where they can take control of those districts. So yeah, the whole gerrymandering itself is one of those things where I've always just been like, why do they allow them to just do that? Like, I get redrawing voter maps every 10 years because
You have to
you
line
know,
it up with the census. Yeah.
yeah, you have to adjust for your census data, but to just up and change it, I mean, it's very obvious what they're doing. Uh, and I think we talked a lot about how they had used different words, not being overtly racist in the terminology that they use to do these things, but having racist outcomes and racist dog whistles that are thrown in there to do things like this, which is I mean, even for somebody from a really red state, I think that it's completely crazy to just you're gonna up and just split up groups of people to make them like how in the world is that not cheating in some way? But they do it.
Pragmatic Crystal has hit the nail on the head with this comment, and the argument is now that non-black folks are being discriminated against. The irony is astounding.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. My state is another one that's going to be affected severely because right now there is a large concentration of black people in the Birmingham area, and there's two districts that are majority black districts in Birmingham. And Huntsville is much more homogenous. There is not a concentration of black people in one area, but there are some concentrations of more democratic people. And if this comes out, I think they're going to dilute the Birmingham district so that black people no longer have any representation. And they may even redraw Huntsville to try to get some of the city areas incorporated into more rural areas so that Democratic votes get diluted.
wow, that's that's just crazy. I mean, obviously there was a reason to have these laws in the South.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We the Jim Crow era and all that was again them using disguised words to actually still carry out racist things after it had been outlawed to do those things. So that as long as they weren't being openly racist about how they were controlling voting, they started doing things like, um, preventing people from making it to the polls or moving them to different places, or doing them at days and times that they thought that black voters wouldn't turn out for the vote. Um, so all that stuff, they eventually said, hey, like, you have to be fair about it. Like, you can feel however you want, but you need to be fair about how we do this voting. And
Mhm.
this year alone, we've seen what, North Carolina, Louisiana, you've got this going on in Alabama, a number of these states who have tried to and been sued in court for trying to discriminate against black voters. It's an unfortunate time that these things are going on. To you see historically the and obviously, don't misunderstand me. I understand racism is alive and well, uh, but the to see how far we made it since slavery and segregation and Jim Crow laws and all that stuff, and then to now have one of our political parties that wants to set us back 100 years or more.
Mhm. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
yeah,
I saw an article in the New York Times with Doug Wilson recently, and I consider Doug Wilson probably to be one of the most dangerous people in this country. And he was pretty toned down for the New York Times, which I totally get. I mean, if he was as radical as he normally is, the Times would have made him look like a fool. But he did advocate for how stripping women of the right to vote, but only married women. Single women still get to vote, and the way he did this was every household gets one vote, and of course the man as the head of the household gets the vote. But I really wish that the interviewer would have asked him, okay, so if your 19-year-old son who is living with you and going to college wants to vote, you tell him, no, you can't vote because you live in my household and our household only gets one vote.
yeah, yeah. I noticed, and a big part of this was women, right? They wanted
Yeah.
to take voting away from women because, let's face it, they were worried about Trump getting elected based on that, because some of the things he said and done in the past doesn't set well with a lot of women, um, obviously. But to yeah, they've came up with all kinds of different just silly ideas of how to only let the people who will vote for them vote. And I mean, now we see the progression of that too, of where are troops being sent into cities at, they're all blue cities.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's another thing. Oh gosh. Although I saw a court decision, I subscribe to Law Dork. Chris, I think it's Chris Geider is his name, and he published a decision that just came out, and the three judges, one of the three judges was a Trump appointee, and they outlined why sending the troops was illegal, and they did it in such a way that they went through all of the arguments that the Trump administration gave, all of the factual arguments, and said, even if we grant you every one of your facts, it's still illegal for you to do this. And it's like an 18-page decision of why this is illegal. And I really think that this is going to hold.
Yeah, they had well, at least part of what you talked about there. They so the Trump administration in Chicago had sent troops from other states
Right,
to
specifically
Chicago.
in Texas, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when they started doing this, a federal judge said, hey, you can't do that. You can't
Right.
use so and so's troops to do this. And so they did the thing you probably shouldn't do with judges is try to find loopholes in what a judge said. So whether we can't have troops from Washington State, well then we'll get troops from Texas, and the judge was like, obviously, what I'm saying here is you can't have troops from another state come here, and the things you're claiming don't match what we're seeing on the ground anyway.
Right,
So,
right.
uh, and the judge was kind of ticked off with them, so they made the ruling that you could not have any National Guard troops from any other state come in to do that, and took away some of the power that they were putting into the troops that are already there.
Mhm.
So that's an awesome move in the right direction. And you're right. It wasn't just Democratic appointed judges. It was judges appointed all the way back to Ronald Reagan, who were both Democrats and Republicans. They all agreed that this thing was illegal. So yeah, more of that hopefully coming soon. Um, and that will give some of these other cities precedent to stand on as this progresses, because um, my theory, and it's I think I've seen a number of other people in this space, hacks, I guess is the word. I've seen them suggest the same thing recently. Um, but my theory is this is all about sending troops into blue cities to say that they're, shitholes
Yeah,
or whatever. And
right.
then whenever it comes time for election time, declare
It's an
martial law and
it's an
only allow the red
intimidation
states to vote.
tactic. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
It's
well
another
done.
way to take people's voting rights away. Um, uh, the, it's a scary time, I guess. You don't really know what's going to happen with those things, but it is good to see that at least some people who call themselves Republicans are starting to open up their eyes and say, "Hey, this is
This
too
is not
much."
what we wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and you try to be understanding to other people's perspectives on things like that, but I mean, at a certain point, it's hard sometimes to have those conversations.
Mhm.
Not that we shouldn't, just that it's tough, especially when it's family and things like that. I know, but
I thought it was especially funny. I can't remember if it was Colbert or Kimmel that pointed out that they're sending troops from Mississippi to go protect Portland, and they said the crime rate in Mississippi is so much higher than it is in Portland. If anything, we should be sending troops from Portland to go protect Mississippi.
right, yeah. I want to say I heard a statistic that was like the top five cities as far as violent crime are all red cities.
Hmm.
All of those top five are no troops in any of those, though,
Of
right?
course not.
Yeah. So, um, I mean, it's the guy ran on political retribution. I mean that's what he said all along, and I know he says a lot of silly things and all that, but like whenever he's talking about the authoritarian things he's going to do, people need to start taking him at his word because he always does them. But it's uh, it's unfortunate, and part of that, which affects everybody here today, I guess, is they're starting to label. those that speak out against Christianity or against them as terrorist
Terrorists.
organizations.
Yep. Yep. I don't think people like us have anything to worry about. We're too small for them to notice. But, they are going to go after people like FFRF, and they're going to go after the American atheists. They're going to go after the big groups.
Right. These places who are not only doing those things, but have some sort of political footing.
Right.
Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, that's because at the end of the day, they probably really don't care about any of that. It's just how can we exclude more voters? So yeah, it's and the craziest thing ever is that whole Antifa thing where they're like, Antifa is anti-American and all this, and it's like, it's literally what we're like. Anti-fascism is after World War II. Well, leading up to World War II, our involvement in World War II anyway. That's kind of the shift that America had made. I mean, later we have Cold War stuff, but the fascism had to be destroyed back then, and now to say you're anti-fascist is somehow
Yeah.
anti-American. It's the craziest stuff ever. And also, I have to say, just on a lighter note, about 95% of people on the right that I've spoken to have no damn clue what fascism even means, or what qualifies as fascism. They have no clue, and then they argue about using that word and stuff, and it's like, what don't you understand about the meaning of this term? And they never do.
Yeah.
Say that they all don't, just in the conversations that take place in the awful places I visit on the internet. But yeah, so thanks, PC, for putting that up there. So I put a little tag, the exclamation point GG, which pulled up Godless Granny's YouTube channel there. I imagine all of you, there's probably more people that know who this is than know who I am on my own channel. So, um, but if you're not subscribed, please go over there and do. Godless Granny makes great content and has a lot of great shows and stuff, and talks a lot about the creationist topics as well. And I'm always happy to see somebody else covering some of that stuff too. Um, did the host know what?
Ironically, the video that I put out today, I always watch Vice Rhino's Friday video while I fold my laundry, and I folded my laundry today, and I was gonna do premiere my video right afterward. And as I'm watching his, he and I both picked the same topic, and we both said a lot of the same things. And somebody in my chat made the comment, "Gee, this sounded an awful lot like another content creator I listened to today." Which, we didn't collaborate on that at all. I had no idea that's what he was doing. He had no idea that's what I was doing. But yeah, we said a lot of the same things this week.
Yeah, uh, that's interesting. I notice a lot of people in this space though are having to cover a lot of and they should. I mean, a lot of the same things though, or variations of it, whether it be um, not necessarily all political stuff either. It seems like they're kind of there seems to be pushes in certain directions right now. I'll say anyway that um, some rebranding of things and some I don't know how to explain it, but I think you see a lot of people having to cover a lot of the same stuff.
Well, we were both doing the problem of suffering, which
Oh,
is, a major issue for Christianity.
sure, sure. Uh, the I had B.S. Lewis came on, and we had a conversation about the problem of evil in general. and which I kind of include suffering in that one. But one of the better conversations um, we had on that kind of counter apologetic stuff. One of the better conversations on this channel. We had a really good talk about it. The I've been big into the problem of deception for a while, which is kind of a different thing. But I've been getting into that a lot, and part of a couple different videos and talks on that subject.
Are
I
you talking about, Christians trying to deceive people, outright lying? What exactly are you talking about?
so um, the the idea that whenever God created everything, if we're going to give that gods exist and that these supernatural events can happen, then you have an issue where God creates a world with deception, and not just any deception. He explains a little bit later how uh, the Satan, the devil, is the father of lies and all this, and is able to deceive even the elect by masquerading as an angel of light. And so, whenever you're dealing with like presuppositionalists, especially fundamentalists like young Earth creationists, this works great. What ends up happening is that a number of times the Bible describes God and Satan using the same words, and it's not just the supernatural deception. There's also the problem of even those who are elect can deceive each other. But um, the what it comes down to eventually is that you can't say that that person, that devil described early on in the Bible, isn't actually the one that is giving this word. That you don't know that you're not being deceived. Whenever Jesus in the New Testament talks about how are we to know it's you, and he says, "Well, you can test me." And
But do
but
not put God to the test.
well, right, there's that also. But the problem with that is if the devil can masquerade as an angel of light and deceive even the elect, then how are we to know if we're being deceived? What way as humans would we have to actually test that? And so it's a neat little thought experiment that deals a lot with presuppositionalists is what it's really for.
And the test that they give in First John just does not work, because that one says, test the spirits. Anyone that says that Jesus has come in the flesh is of God, and anyone who denies that Jesus has come in the flesh is not of God. And I heard a preacher preach on that once, and he said, well, the only group that denies that Jesus has come in the flesh is, I think he said it was the Christian Scientists. And he said they don't believe in pain anyway, so you can just punch them in the nose.
That's funny.
But
There's a number of places that this comes up in the Bible, though, all the way to the end in Revelation. You have these different. In fact, in Revelation, that's where. Uh, so I can't remember the book. Um, Somebody will tell me, I'm sure. Um, in the Old Testament, the devil is, or yeah, the devil is described as lurking like a lion, and uh,
no, in the Old Testament, he's just the adversary. He sits down with God and makes a wager about Job. But the Satan, or the adversary, as it's also translated, really has very little role in the Old Testament.
yeah. Well, when there's a part where they're describing, it's just a few lines. There's a part where they describe him as being lurking like a lion, looking for
Yeah, but
people.
that's in the New Testament.
Oh, well, I know in Revelation that takes place,
Mhm.
but it's used to describe God at that point, and that's kind of the point I'm driving at. They use the exact same terminology in two different places to describe Satan and God. And so those are all things that just play into that position of how are you to know that this thing, how can you say for certain that the Bible itself isn't the deception? Um, uh, when you look at, you take the totality of all the evil things that Yahweh does throughout the Old Testament, uh, it would seem to fit that narrative too. So you don't have anything that contradicts that, but you do have a number of things that could be used to support it. Now, obviously, it's all, I mean, it's fiction laid in non-fictional settings many times, and so I don't actually think any of that. That's just if we're giving that the presuppositionalists, if they're going to say that these things exist and are true, then you take that and flip it on its head and use it against them. That's the only thing I'm driving at. Brandon from Mindshift makes a great video on this topic, and Jimmy Tux just came out with a video on this topic that covers a lot of it too. And it's there's a few people that spend some time talking on it and things, and much better than I do, I promise. Um, but it's an interesting position, and the thing with that is that when you talk about the problem of evil and suffering and divine hiddenness and all that stuff, all of those things support this too. So you're able to make ties between those different arguments within this one. So just something I've been messing with and tinkering with, and uh, you know, to deal with creationists mostly. um, it's fun stuff. The I will have to. I don't have my. Oh, I do. I will. I will send you what I was referencing from the Old Testament later, so you can see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Because I may have trampled the wording of it terribly. I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't always speak in complete sentences. But yeah, it's a really interesting thing though, and um, it it just shows you how much, like, because the presuppositionalist that comes in with the creation position especially, they they as people who believe the Bible is true tend to do, they pick out the parts that work for them, and this takes the parts that doesn't work so great for them and holds them to account for those things essentially. And so yeah, one of my favorite arguments though, and one that, because it works different than the others. Um, whereas the like the problem of evil and the problem of suffering are a direct problem with God, uh, with God as defined in the Bible. Um, this is more of a thought experiment type thing, but still valid to the points that it's just as valid as any argument a presuppositionalist can make on that. So um, fun stuff. I don't know. I tell everybody about it though, so poor. You would think I would get better at telling them about it, but I've made videos on the subject where I've been a little more prepared to talk about it, because while I'm familiar with how the stories in the Bible flow and all that stuff, my knowledge of the Bible isn't. You could tell me something, and I say, oh yeah, that's in this part of the Bible, but as far as knowing verses and where it's at and all that, I don't remember any of that stuff. So whatever, but fun stuff. Anyway, um, so are you going to come visit us next year here in Kentucky?
Most likely, yes.
Okay. Um, Yeah, we would
And
love.
if you ask me to be a speaker, then definitely yes.
Well, that's where we were going.
Okay.
We haven't actually, started working on really that part of it yet.
Mhm.
Usually around towards December. I say usually. Last year, towards December, is whenever I started like really putting that together and stuff. So, but obviously, there's a number of people that I think would be really great for it. And I mean, honestly, as far as people who would want to speak at the art protest, given your story, I can't imagine really a better person to come do that. so, we'll leave that door open for you.
Okay.
You're welcome to do it if you would like. Um, and whenever I start putting that stuff together, I will for sure. You will for sure be one of the first people I contact. So
Okay.
um,
Sounds good.
that was one of the things. Jim was really impressed that me having a somewhat small YouTube channel and that I was able to find people to speak at all, really, and that we had a not a huge turnout, but there was like 100 people, which I mean for a 100-degree day in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, that's not
Not
too bad.
bad. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so he was kind of impressed that with the speakers that came and with some of the people that he didn't know and didn't know of and stuff um, and obviously there were other things that needed work, but again, it's kind of a learning thing. But yeah, we would love to have you next year. Uh, the I was telling Jim that I was asking him if they still had the original artwork for that song. Uh, I said we needed to get you one of those made, and
I should have it made into a t-shirt.
yeah, yeah, which actually may not be a bad idea for next year to put that on T-shirts.
Mhm.
The
Although you'll have to make it just a little bit more specific because the sign at Ark Protest of genocide and incest park, everyone knows what you're talking about. But if you put it on a shirt, nobody's going to know about what the shirt means unless you're at the protest. So you're going to have to put something about um, Ark Encounter, uh, genocide and incest park.
Yeah, yeah, we'll have to. You'll have to do something so it makes sense outside of
Right,
that context.
right.
Yeah, you're right. And I don't know. I'll look into that. I'll look into some way to do that. Um, but that would be really cool to use that. The fact that that sign had held meaning to you
Hmm.
made Jim one of the happiest people ever. Because he loves that sign. He's very proud of that sign, and not that he shouldn't be. It's it's one of those things like it's the wording and the way it's on there is just it's
It did
fitting.
exactly what it was supposed to do. Is it it ticked me off. And it ticked off that other guy. You pretty much any believer that looks at that sign is going to be ticked off. The
Yeah,
question is, will they be ticked off enough to think about what it is that's ticking them off?
yeah, right. Yeah, is it enough to not only tick them off but get them to ask the question of why would anybody put that on there? And
Right. And
yeah,
to think about, yeah, I guess that really is what it is, isn't it?
yeah. The things that if we knew what to say to make people think critically, we would just say that, right? Like
Mhm.
if especially whenever we're talking about these creationists and fundamentalists, right? If we knew what thing to say to people who believed that would make them think critically about the positions that they hold, we would just say that thing and have them think about it, and that would be the end of creationism. But you never know. what thing it is, or how it's used that's going to reach what people. You just don't know. And
Mhm.
it's one of the reasons that the atheist community on YouTube is so powerful, because we have so many different perspectives of people who are experts and non-experts, and all different things in between, of covering topics and the way that they do it and what their goals are in doing that. And I do have to say though, that sign is it's gotten a lot of attention over the years. I think that they did a good one there. Um, but I think that I think they should put your picture on the sign. Actually, I think that should be your sign from now on. Um, not as the incest and genocide part. Just the just to have your picture on there would be good though, off to the side. The uh, that's one of the things that, for people like Jim, who Jim has a background in marketing, so he that's kind of how that came to be. But he couldn't have been happier to hear stories from people that of how they were reached by this event, or by that sign, or by that. He that stirred him up and made him want to get back into doing more things and stuff. And I'm glad, because he's a good person to have on your side. He's he'll argue for truth and against science denial and all that stuff every day of the week, if you can get him going. But yeah, so um, although I can't say anything concrete yet. Go ahead and plan on it. I mean, um, expect the invitation, I guess,
Okay.
because you will get. We've already talked about it. We just haven't done anything yet, and I don't
Mhm.
want to make any moves without letting anybody else know what I'm doing when I'm doing it. So, because so the deal with last year or this year was that I could use all the stuff, anything that they had, they would let me use. And, if I needed to call and ask a question, or needed some kind of guidance in that way, sure. But Tri State Freethinkers, just, they've done this for a number of years. And in the last couple of years that they did it, Jim's wife, Chrissy Helton, was doing almost all of it on her own. And so they were excited to have, they wanted somebody to come in and do it, and take over that part of it. Like, that's what they wanted. But they didn't want to have to really do a whole lot, as far as, and I understand that it's not a bad thing. So, but after that, they they are excuse me, sorry, they are going to be more involved for this 10th anniversary one. I'll still be doing a lot of the same things I did for this one, but as a representative of Tri-State Freethinkers. So, because we now have that nonprofit to tie to it, and to which will help us a lot as far as getting a crowd there, and getting people interested, and all that. But so a few changes, but not big ones. Um, but I thought, other than the heat, um, if it would have been a nice day outside, I would have, of course, other than some small little things, I would have considered it a huge success, and a great, great. It was still successful. I don't think it could have not been, but um, I hope to, whatever it eventually becomes, because we're not going to leave that alone. Like that's I have no intention of just being like, oh well, I guess AIG is just going to be there. Like I have no intention of just ever being quiet about that. So um, whatever it turns into, though, I hope that it keeps a lot of the reflections of how it's been done in the past, because it's different. It's it's not exactly the same as the other conventions and stuff, and it's not. I mean, while it is not cheap to travel, and to stay and all those things, it's one of those events where anybody can come. You don't have to pay really anything to get in, or be there. We tried to not only have speakers who had a background, and a following speak, but also some people with smaller channels and stuff to speak to, because there is this, like, those faces are kind of changing, in online. There's new people. Justin from Deconstruction Zone, for example, is very popular right now. We've talked about Brandon from Mindshift. People who are getting a big following, and doing really good work and stuff. And I don't know. I love, the people that have spoke at it in the past, and obviously, I mean, we invited Aaron and him, and a number of people who had spoke at it in the past and stuff. But I thought it was cool to see some different faces come and speak out about what's going on and stuff. And I mean, again, I don't know of any of the speeches that weren't really, really good. So even those that came up and just kind of said a few words off the cuff, did a great job. So yes. All right. So I'm going to. I went longer than I planned. I planned to be at this point about 15 minutes ago. So what have you got going on? What are you working on right now? What are you doing? Where can they be?
Um, I just put out a video on the problem of suffering. It just came out like 2 hours ago. So there's that. Be sure to get that view. Tomorrow, we're just doing a friends hangout, but because it's also the No Kings rally day, I kind of made that the theme that we're going to start out with, talking about the No Kings rallies that occurred in our various cities of whoever shows up. There's a couple people that have committed to being there. Purple Rhymes with Orange will be there. Um, Bill Cluck will be there, and if you don't know Bill Cluck, he is one of the founders of the Atheist and Christian Book Club. Jenny, yeah, Jenny Morgan will be there.
Oh,
And let's see. I don't know for sure whether or not Mage Grey Wolf will be there, but I suspect Mage will be there. He usually comes.
awesome. Yeah. I got to meet Purple Rhymes with Orange at the Ark Protest. That was really exciting.
Hmm.
I had to. I didn't realize that nobody knew what she looked like. So I had to go and make sure that, in stuff, that we weren't putting anybody's picture there that didn't want to be.
Yeah, she has only appeared by avatar on her channel. She's never shown her face.
Yeah. Um, she stayed. Her and Sinister Porpoise came together and stayed at the Airbnb there in town that I was at, and had some great talks with those folks sitting there. In fact, people got very little sleep, 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, up, talking about obviously experiences with religion and religious trauma, and all that was part of it. But getting to know each other and stuff. And it was really awesome having Purple there, and getting to meet her and stuff. She does so much with the Christmas thing every year that
Mm-hmm.
um, I was really just glad to see her there, taking part in it and stuff, and an awesome person to meet. Um, which was really the coolest part about all of it for me anyway, is getting to actually meet up with a number of these people and talk to them, and um,
Ember says Purple has done a face reveal, but that's in deep lore.
oh well, yeah. I didn't know that. I was under the impression that no one had ever seen her, but uh, on the internet anyway. I'm sure people have seen her.
Yep.
She's not Bigfoot after all. So,
No, she's
but
a Tyrannosaurus.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Purple's a lot of fun.
I'm sorry, not a Tyrannosaurus, a Stegosaurus. Isn't that?
Stegosaurus. Yeah. The people you mentioned though, Purple and Jenny and Mage and those folks. I've had some great conversations with them in the past, over on Purple's channel and here too. But yeah, good friends of the channel. But so I will probably actually, I've got some free time. I'm going to go check out your video myself whenever we end here and see what you have to say on the topic. And I love to hear
Triceratops, sorry. Yeah, as
Triceratops.
soon as I said Stegosaurus, I said, that's not right. And yeah, Ember's right. It's Triceratops.
Right. She had the shirt with the Triceratops on it, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
She had a mask too.
Yeah, she had the mask too. Yeah. The I did see a picture of her with that mask on that I didn't obviously take out, but it's there. Uh, um, the but anyway, so I love to see people cover things like suffering and the problem of evil, and divine hiddenness is awesome too, um, because everybody has different ways of describing that problem, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and some resonate better than others, obviously. But so yeah, I look forward to watching that. I'll leave you a comment, and hopefully all you guys do too, about what you think about it, because love to see that kind of stuff. Well, this is your third visit here.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you coming and talking to me. I know that I ramble and what get sidetracked, and I appreciate your patience.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we. I look forward to seeing you next year at the Ark Protest, and at any other event we may cross paths, obviously too. I'm going to try and get out and about to more things this year. Hopefully, I'm in a little bit better position to do that. The But we loved having you speak, and you did a wonderful job and gave a great speech. And just as that sign made a difference for you, I'm, I'm pretty sure that the words that you shared probably meant something to a number of people watching and listening. So really appreciate that, helping us out down here in Kentucky with our infestation of AIG people. But so anything else before we close out?
No, that was it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Well, everybody please go over and check out Godless Granny. And I don't imagine you're not, but if you're not subscribed over there, subscribe, support another creator who's making great content. I've learned a lot from a number of videos over on the Godless Granny channel, and I think you probably can too. So definitely go over and check that out. Um, As for myself, I'll be back on tomorrow at 3 p.m. To have a brief conversation with Jess on this same topic. Jess, as many of you know, helped to organize much of this, and at many times was doing a lot more than I was in the process here. So definitely want to talk to her and get some of her thoughts on it. And next year, I hope to see all of you at the Ark Encounter protest with us. Um, that's all I got for now. I guess I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Live your life.